Hi, MaryAnn.
Hi everybody. Joe's been telling me a lot of you are looking for me to be in the kitchen, but believe me, I am not a good cooking expert. But today I'm going to make a meal that my mother would have said it's an American meal or American meal, because growing up we never had macaroni and cheese. I don't even think we had it until my sister went to high school. And for those of you who are old enough to know, she had a class called was it consumer? Home ec, home ec cooking or something. I don't know. I had trigonometry as my elective, so anyway, I didn't have any of those classes, which I'm kind of sorry I didn't. But so this recipe is a lot different than other recipes. If it comes out bad, you're not going to see it, but hopefully it doesn't come out bad. But again, how could it be bad if it has good ingredients? So a couple reasons why I decided to make this today. When Joe got up this morning, he said it was cold, so I was thinking, okay, when it's cold, what would my mother have done? She would have said, okay, let's make something in the oven so that it'll warm up the house. So that's what I did. So for my mac and cheese, and again, here's a couple reasons why. I had bought Velveeta, and I cut that up in chunks here. And I don't want the Velveeta to go bad, so it's 16 ounces of Velveeta. It's 1 stick of butter. I'm using a pound of macaronis. This is not the elbow, but usually I use elbow. But how do you say this, Joe?
Cavatappi.
Cavatappi. And probably I bought this because when there's a sale and you're only allowed 4 of a kind, so 4 of a variety, so that was a different, but I do like this for macaroni and cheese. I'm going to put evaporated milk and some spices. So I cut up, because we had somebody here. But here's my secret ingredient, hot dogs. But this is
That's 3 hot dogs?
3 hot dogs I cut up. I cut up the, because 16 ounces of the Velveeta cheese, and that's 8 ounces of sharp cheddar cheese. But I'll get it out for you. And then in the interim, while we're doing that, can I just show something else? Okay, so when I was thinking, okay, so the oven's going to go on. What else can we do with the oven? So what I did was I took out some chicken wings, and I put them in this pan. And I know this brand here. It's Purdue chicken wings, and it says on the package, it says you can kind of cook them frozen. But I don't like to keep it frozen because when I add my spices, I want my spices to stick. And when it was frozen, I felt like the spices were coming off. And I remember my mother used to use the pot to mix in. So what I'm going to do, if you want to see this now, I'm going to put in black pepper. I'm just going to sprinkle it, and then what I can do, it looks like a lot, not a clue of how much it is. Garlic powder. So I'm going to sprinkle this in. Usually I make 2 packs, but I don't know because then we eat leftover. Onion powder, and I kind of just sprinkle the top, right? And then I'm going to use, where's my other, I guess salt, but I have another one, just the salt, because you know what it needs to have. And one time I was doing it each time. Had the chicken wing, I was sprinkling, then turning it. But then this way, so now I have all of that in here. And I guess you can I'm going to use my hand because I'm going to wash it, and I wash my hands good. So I'm just going to mix it with my hands. My hand here. Wow, it smells very garlicky. But then you kind of are ensured that every piece of chicken is getting coated with that. And if you want to add more when it's in a sheet, you can. So I have my oven preheating to 400 degrees. I'm going to cook this at 400. So that's all, and I'm going to probably convect it. And then I'm going to put this together, but that's all I want you to see right now. I'm going to wash my hands good because I hate touching.
All right, I'm going to pause it until you're ready for that.
Yep.
We're back.
Okay, so I put my chicken in the pan, and I put the bigger pieces on the outside because of the heat. And what I'm doing is, and I'm using, usually I use butter, but I'm using this country crock, only because, again, if I have something, I'm not going to let it expire. So what I do is I'm not touching it with the bottom of the spoon into the butter or country crock, so it's not contaminating the back. And then just put a little dab on. Just kind of is going to give it a little bit of flavor. Just going to do each one. My oven is preheated to 400, but what I'm going to do, and what a problem is, which I know is definitely, whoops, I see another one there without anything. When I'm cooking, and I'm going to do the macaroni and cheese, do they all have it? Whoops, one more. So if they don't have any, they don't cook at the same time, so you have to play around with that a little bit. But I will let you know, so I'm going to put this in the oven. Let me wash my hands again. So I'm going to put it in my oven at 400. I have my water boiling, so I'm going to put my macaroni in, and then I'll be back to show you how I do the macaroni and cheese. But I'm going to start the chicken. I'm going to cook it. I'm going to let it cook halfway and then turn it. We like our wings very crispy, so it might be different for some. All right? Be back in a little bit. Okay, so what I did was, and I didn't grease it, I put the pound of macaroni in. Okay, so it was 16 ounces. It says to cook for al dente. I think it said 8 minutes. I only cooked it for 5 minutes, so it has a little bit of a bite. It's kind of hard, which I wanted it hard because it's going to cook in the oven and then it becomes too mushy. So this is the cheese I used, extra sharp, but I use ShopRite, whatever brand you want to use. I know like a half a pound of the. This is funny. I have to tell you this story because we used to get the cheese ends and it used to be real cheap. So whatever the cheese ends were, if they were whatever flavor it was, that's what we had for macaroni and cheese. But again, we never had it. And a couple reasons.
The cheese ends from the deli.
Yes, the cheese ends. You know, they used to sell it really cheap, but now it's cheaper to get it in here. And as I said before, this was going to expire in a couple months, so I don't let anything expire, so that's where we decided to use it. So what I'm going to do is that I melted a stick of butter, which was, you think I would know this by now, because you know what, pressure, and then you can't say. That's so half a cup. And I just melted it, and that's what you see, the shininess. So Joe, you open this Carnation evaporated milk. And actually the evaporated milk, a lot of people use half and half and stuff rather than the milk. But the evaporated milk actually is like a creamier milk. So it's not as much fat as that, as the half and half and stuff. Okay, now I'm just going to take my cheese. And I know a lot of people do this on the stove. And they melt it and they put flour. So I'm gonna throw in, this is my Velveeta. You see it's clumped up, but I'm gonna try to mix it. And then I guess I'll just throw this in together too.
And MaryAnn is very anal. She cuts everything the same exact size because, you know, when you cut stuff the same size, it melts the same way, but she goes overboard sometimes.
My sister-in-law said, what took you so long? I was cutting pieces one day. So you could just see that this is just gonna kind of get mixed up. There's a hijacker hot dog he's going into because I'm not separating. So this is the other cheese. And again, you can use any flavor cheese that you like to your taste. There's no right or wrong. I'm sure there's a million people saying, this is not how you make macaroni and cheese. And
this is MaryAnn's version of macaroni and
MaryAnn's
cheese.
version, the Medigan, the Italians' American way of making. And the hot dogs are just, I guess, I don't know, that's what that one teacher did, so I'm just going to do it here. And it's just going to all melt together. It's not going to make that thick sauce, that clumpy sauce that you go in. And then I'm just going to mix these in. Maybe I only needed 2 hot dogs. And these hot dogs were from Costco. And Costco has like a little bite to it. It's not a sausagey, but it's almost like those Grill Mates. So, and you're going to see that this is all going to come together. I'm almost
What is that, a little more peppery taste?
Yeah, it has like a little spiciness to it.
Did I ever notice? Did I ever say it to you?
You told me you liked it once.
Oh, okay.
So, and again, with the pandemic, I was buying in bulk, so we were panicked. So I'm almost trying to think if I should throw a little bit more milk in because it looks a little, we had a couple breaks in there. But all right, so now again, I have my chicken wings cooking, and I put it on Convect at 425. When I throw this in, I'm going to lower it.
So it's Convect at 425.
Yeah, but you can do regular if you don't have a convection do. And that's the other thing. Growing up, I don't remember us cooking anything at 400. It was 350, and you know, you just cooked it at 350. Now, everybody cooks. I kind of think it looks good. I think I'm going to add a little bit of milk, maybe a half a cup of regular milk, unless I do another can of evaporated milk. You could close it, and then while I'm thinking about it, I'll let you know. Okay?
So you're adding another can, MaryAnn?
Yeah, so I decided to add another can because the macaroni is really al dente, and that's going to suck up some of the moisture. So I decided rather than the milk, let's use the evaporated milk. It'll give it some more creaminess. And then at the end, I might just throw, depending on how cheesy it looks, I might throw some American cheese on top, but we'll see.
We love our cheese.
Oh my God. Cheese is my middle name. That was the hardest part of cutting that cheese up. You can, by the way, you can grate it too. I just happened to. I think that's good because you just wanted a little bit of you know, you can see it
On
there.
not with this, but on Sundays, my job used to be to grate the cheese. You know, we used to have the big chunks of cheese, and my mother would give me the cheese to grate, and I used to love doing that because I used to keep slicing a piece and taking it.
Oh my God, right? And then before you hang up there, I mean, close that down a second. I'm going to throw this in the oven, but I want you to see. These are my Christmas already. That's a bad one. Just wipe my hand on this. Okay, so I'm just going to show, I'm going to put this in 400. I don't know if it maybe should be 375, but I have the chicken in, so I don't want to not. So I'm putting this in. I just shut it off for a second. Let me just show you the chicken. See, so it's crisping up, but I'm not going to turn it yet because I don't think it's ready. A lot of people like it this way. We like our chicken really crispy. So
Really
back
crisp.
in the oven. Okay, and we'll see you in a little bit. Okay, this one I'm going to start at half an hour, and I'll let you know how that makes out with the macaroni and cheese.
Okay.
Bye-bye. Back, so the macaroni and cheese, and you can see from here, see it's solidified, and it was, it did need 2 cans of evaporated milk. I haven't made it in a while.
How long did you cook that?
I cooked this about 45 minutes, 375, but I had it on Convect. So kind of look at it and see, and then you can actually, I'll let Joe taste it.
No, you taste
Okay.
it.
Cheesy enough. Perfect. So and as it's getting, you're going to see, as I have it out of the oven about 10 minutes because I had these on broil. So you're going to see it's, you know, it's thick enough. And that's good. For me, I think it's good. And look how great those little hot dogs look. Take one right off the top. Okay, so now I'm going to turn this chicken. Joe, we like our chicken kind of petrified. So I'm going to put these back in. And you know what? The parchment paper, again, something we never used when we were growing up. But it's great because nothing, I was going to say, look at that, nothing sticks, but it was just starting to stick. And I'm going to just put it under the broiler just a little bit more. I mean, these are definitely cooked. It's just that we like it real crispy. It's probably done. I'm sure it's done, but not to our liking.
Okay, so we'll pick it back up when you take it out.
So yep, and these will be. Look how great this is. It just turns right over.
You putting them on the broiler? You said.
I'm going to put it under the broiler at 400 because I don't want them to burn, but I just want them to crisp up a little bit more.
Okay.
Okay.
I was still laughing at MaryAnn saying we like it petrified. When I used to go to a restaurant and get chicken, I used to say to them, I want it black.
Burn it.
Black.
And they would never want to burn it.
They wouldn't want to do it.
And we would say, listen, it's okay. We're not going to complain how much it burns. So okay, so this is going back in, and it'll be good for this. It's almost like lasagna, or when you make baked ziti, you have to let it sit for a while for everything to congeal together. And I have my nice cranberry and vodka here. So even if it didn't taste good, it would taste good. But no, it is good. And the only thing I would have done, but we had a couple interruptions today, is I probably would have baked something. Again, when the oven's on, you try to get your, use out of that. But so a kind of an American, which is the Italian way of saying an American meal, because again, growing up, this is not something we would have. Okay? And this is cool enough because I took it out to turn.
Okay.
And back in the oven.
Be back for closing, okay? Okay, we're back, Mayor.
Okay, I snuck a piece. So really cheesy, and I didn't do any flour, and I mixed it all in the same pan. So that's really easy mac and cheese. It's actually very cheesy, so if you only wanted to do, instead of the 16 ounce of Velveeta, maybe do half to 3/4. But again, we like it cheesy, so it's great for us. So you can see it here. It's very, very good. And again, chicken, the wings, we like it very well done and crispy, so that's why I did this like this.
But everybody does it to their own taste. That's
Actually, you didn't have to put it back in the broiler. We do. Word of caution, if you put it in the broiler, time it and keep an eye on it because it'll burn right away. Okay? Delicious meal, and we have a salad to go with it. Hope you like it. And
that's it. And don't forget,
because if we get more subscriptions, Joe will say it's me. So if you like it, subscribe.
Going for that 10,000 by Thanksgiving, and we'll be back.
And I'll get the credit. Yay!
And we'll be back soon with shopping or something I'm going to be making for Christmas, and another recipe from MaryAnn. I hope it's that pumpkin.
And I love this. I know. I have to get. I promised. And that's a great pumpkin recipe. Great, great, great. Absolutely delicious. Okay. And remember, if you don't do a thumbs up And you do this. Sorry.
Okay.
Bye, guys, and enjoy. I hope you make this. I know it's a good comfort food. Bye.